Welcome to the Eldercare channel. My name is Stephanie. I am the Marketing Director for Horizon Elder Law, as well as today's host for the Contra Costa County Eldercare channel. Today we're talking with Matt Schreiner with BrightStar. We're going to learn more information about Matt and BrightStar as a company, and maybe some information about home caregivers. Welcome, Matt.
Okay, well thank you, Stephanie.
Matt, can you just tell our viewers a little bit more about your background, how you got involved with BrightStar?
Well, I was a kid in high school that was volunteering with seniors through the church, and didn't know at the time they were probably seniors with Alzheimer's. Went to college at Wake Forest, became a business major, came back out of college and decided, you know, I really would want to do something with meaning in my life. So I decided I'm going to go pursue being a physical therapist or a doctor, and I took 44 science credits. Which was very educational and great. Towards the end of that, I finally got a job in a hospital as a physical therapy aide. So I worked at Stanford Hospital doing that, wound care in the morning and orthopedic floors in the afternoon. My joke for years, and which is somewhat true, is that wound care scared me into sales and marketing. So I got the opportunity. Hospital life wasn't quite what I was expecting. And I got the opportunity to join a startup disease management company. Then they fired my boss, and I all of a sudden became the de facto marketing director for the product launch for a patient, or for a for a little talking box and scale for heart failure disease management. Really liked that. I really liked getting out. I really liked getting to know the sales VPs there. Started to get some advice from them a few years in that if I really wanted to interact with customers, I needed to get sales experience, and they said, if you're going to do it in healthcare, go get a job with a big pharma. They said Pfizer or Merck. And I ended up with Pfizer. Stayed a lot longer than I ever expected. So I was there 8 years, ending as a neuroscience specialty rep, so chasing around most of the neurologists in town, which neurologists are great. No, as an aside, great people, very nice, smartest guys in their class, work very hard. After that, I had painting, driveway sealing businesses, lawn mowing businesses. One of my other goals was to own my own business, and I got the opportunity to buy a BrightStar franchise when BrightStar was a very small franchise. There were about 20, 25 of them when I bought. I owned an Oakland, Alameda, Berkeley territory, as well as a La Miranda, Walnut Creek, down to San Ramon, Danville territory. And we can cover a little more area than that as well. So I've been doing that for almost 7 years now, and it's grown rapidly. There's now almost 300 of them. We're up in the top 5 to 10 of them in the country, and it's been fun. I love what I do. I feel it has meaning, and enjoy it.
That's excellent. Thank you so much for sharing. That's great. So what types of services do your caregivers provide?
Well, I've got caregivers and nurses, so we can do anything from grilled cheese to IVs is kind of my joke, but we can do anything, companion care. I think that's rare in this industry, where I've had shifts where you go take a gentleman up to the putting green and afterwards have a hamburger with him. That's rare, but fun. Yeah. So we can do anything from that to preparing meals, all the way to skilled nursing services, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and those more skilled services. And we do that on a private duty basis. We don't take Medicare, so but it makes the whole portion of our home care stronger. And in reality, we're probably 75, 85% sort of that caregiving home care component, and a small percentage of sort of private duty skilled business as well.
Wow, that's great. So what kind of training goes into this for your caregivers for in-home caregiving?
Well, we've got two bodies looking at us. One is we're a licensed home health agency with the state of California, and that says anybody working for us has to have at least a year of experience, mostly nurses, but we look at the certified nursing assistants the same way. The other side is we are Joint Commission accredited, which is a hospital accreditation body that is kind of like voluntarily asking for a root canal. So they come and scrutinize absolutely everything.
Yeah.
But with those two, you have to show that the caregivers and CNAs and nurses you hire are experienced. You have to show that you are providing training opportunities monthly. You have to be able to demonstrate. We have a 4 or 5 hour orientation for them, so they know how we do business. And then we have supervisory visits that need to happen every 60 days to see how they're doing in the field and answer any questions. And I think that's in my talking to all of the new employees at orientation, one of the things that I sit and tell them is the big advantage we have over every other home care out there is we've got nurses and physical therapists and occupational therapists on the other side. And if you have a question it's an Alzheimer's person, you're having trouble with this behavior, or you're having trouble with a person with congestive heart failure, those kind of things, we probably have a stronger plan of care than 99.9% of our competitors, and we probably have, or we do have an answer from a 20-year nursing veteran that's my director of nursing. So.
Wow, that's impressive. Thank you for sharing that. Wow. So does California have any requirements for home caregivers or medical or non-medical home care?
Well, it's absolutely not. It's sort of the Wild West out there, and it's always a frustration for me. I say, gosh, we're the highest standard of home care, and home care is a broad meaning. It can be anywhere from a caregiver throwing an ad on Craigslist and saying they're an agency, all the way, there's a middle ground of referral agencies where they will do some of the screening and background checking, but really the employment burden in California is on the client. And then there's all the way to a full service agency. And then I think full service agency is managed by nurses. I think to me, that's the highest standard you can have. I guess I have two sort of side rants. One is I don't like the term non-medical because other than the one guy in 7 years that I can think of that was just had us there to do the putting green and a grilled cheese sandwich. Yeah. We everything that comes to us is skilled. There's a reality that the non-medical thing is a cop-out. I shouldn't say cop-out. The non-medical thing is there's a lot of they're there because they have progressing Alzheimer's. They're there because they fell. They're there because they have COPD. They have MS. They have Huntington's disease, Pick's disease. There's some reason they called us. And I think if you're not encompassing and understanding the medical side of that, you're doomed for them to repeat the same problems. So that's my one rant, and I guess I have another one on non-skilled. A lot of people call this non-medical or non-skilled home care, and non-skilled home care. I think that's so insulting to the workers I have. If you've ever been around a certified nursing assistant that has, say, 5 years of experience with a person with Alzheimer's, the techniques, the way they interact with someone with Alzheimer's, the confidence they have, the understanding of how to deflect certain things, it is a skill. And calling it that, I know nobody's intending that as a slight, but I always kind of look at that as that's kind of a funny term for it. So. Probably needs to be edited out, but
no, I think that's really good information because that does actually set you apart in that you are skilled, actual nurses, and they're licensed and everything, and so I think that really does help.
I should say there's also a social component too, and I have one of my director. I have a director of care management with their master's in gerontology. You have to look at both. You have to look at the medical component of what's going on, and you have to understand the social component and what resources are in the community. It's a very expensive service. It is if you can get folks plugged into something like adult daycare or get them plugged into the senior center, if you can increase their socialization, find out what things are available in the community, you're going to increase their quality of life, probably extend their life. There are studies that show socialization is a bigger risk, 2 times higher risk of mortality than obesity, and a few times higher than smoking even. which is, I'm might be slightly off on those stats, but I remember them being staggering.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that makes complete sense. Loneliness can really take a toll on someone.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us a little bit about like what sets you apart from your competitors? What do you do differently?
Well, I think we're more professional. I think we have higher standards. We're a licensed home health agency. You know, I have a director of nursing that has the experience to be in a hospital, that has the experience to run a Medicare agency, but we're not a Medicare agency. A Medicare agency, the Medicare has to dominate your focus of existence in trying to ping pong the bills back and trying to run that. With that same type of experienced manager focused on the skilled things we do privately and the private duty home care we do, we're able to just bore in and focus on that. So again, being a home health agency is a big advantage to even doing things that are outside of that scope, as well as Joint Commission accreditation, knowing that everything we do, everything we say we do is going to be looked at, and we have to demonstrate it. We have to walk the walk, per se, and that they're going to come back and they're going to pull files and they're going to look for everything. And it's one thing to say you do something, it's another thing to do it. I can say the proof is in the pudding. I mean, not only are we one of, I guess there's now 2 Joint Commission accredited agencies in the entire East Bay. We are number 1 in BrightStar out of now something like 300 almost 300 BrightStars. We're number 1 in customer service. They use a service called Patient Impact, which is the same one that looks at businesses like Trader Joe's, USAA, and right now our score is higher than both of those and higher than any other BrightStar. So we're very, very proud of that.
Yeah, you should be. That's great. So without using any actual names, do you have maybe a testimonial or a story of one of your particular clients that you'd like to share?
Well, it's funny. I was thinking, you know, testimonials and stories, there's a ton.
Yeah.
There's a certain thing that the more professional and the further I go in this business, the more you want to set your expectation as exceeding expectations.
Yeah.
But that said, I've had, you know, we have taken folks to weddings, we have taken folks to memorial services, but we've not only done that, I imagine a lot of home cares have done those type of things. We've traveled across country with people, but we've done it for folks that can't leave a nursing home, that must have nursing presence with them at all time. They've got tubes, they've got drains, they've got all those things that scared me into sales and marketing going on, and our nurses are amazingly caring and can do some amazing things like that. But,
that's great. Well, how many caregivers or nurses do you have on staff?
We're now over 200. So,
wow.
Which is staggering to me when you start from zero. And the other thing that's staggering, I mean, I have a significant amount of them that started with me in 2007, and I thought, I guess I had set myself up for the idea that this was going to be a bit of a revolving door, that a lot of these people would be per diem, and I've got a good core that we've hung on to for a long time, and that's partly due to my staff. I've gotten compliments from caregivers where, wow, I've worked with so many agencies and nobody treats me as well as your agency does. And it's not just about compensation. I would say we're among the higher paying BrightStar or higher paying home care jobs, but it's how you treat them. You know, it's how the courtesy, just having an office staff that treats them with courtesy and respect, making sure they know exactly what they're going in to see in a house, making sure that all the little details are covered. It's funny, home care is a detailed business. It is, do they have a cat? It is, do they have a dog? Is it a Chihuahua or a Great Dane? It is, they like this type of thing and not that. Matching caregivers and nurses to clients and personality types is an art. And the people that know me will laugh, but I've managed to surround myself with compulsive perfectionists, and I guess that's not quite my style personally. It's, as discussing with someone about the tidiness of offices and how my staff is always horrified when they see my desk, but the rest of them are squared away, neat, tidy, organized, and have every I and every T crossed and dotted, or dotted and crossed.
Well, that's always good
Yeah.
to make sure that you have people that complement your weaknesses even.
Yes,
Right?
yes. I mean, I think, that's the, I always make a joke, better lucky than good, but I honestly think I was seeking out folks that, I mean, you really do have to seek out a team that can address those things that you can't.
I completely agree.
Mhm.
So, as far as, sometimes people are concerned about how much is this going to cost and that kind of thing. And home care, it is costly. We're not going
Sure.
to lie. But there are some additional resources that can be utilized, such as VA benefits and things like that.
Mhm.
And you know how to lead clients into that.
Yeah.
Where to find those benefits and things like that.
Absolutely, and I think that's part of doing this well is understanding long-term care policies, understanding
Yes.
VA benefits, understanding. I'm actually on the board of the Adult Day Services Network in Alameda County. I'm also the chairperson for the Lafayette Senior Services Commission, and I guess someone as a home care could look at some of those things as competitive with what we do. I don't. I look at it as if someone can go to one of those programs for 6-8 hours a day in the middle of the day and just use my caregivers in the evening. It extends the amount of time they can stay at home. It extends their quality of life. It extends their happiness, and it probably extends their life period. Back to the study that I can't put my finger on, but I'll find it for you.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, and I completely agree with you. Any resources to be able to stay home longer is good. Well, thank you so much, Matt. Was there anything else you wanted to add before we close?
I could probably go on and on about all sorts of things for hours, but I will leave it at that.
Okay.
We're happy to. We're reachable 24/7. I'm not hard to find, even 7 years later. Drives my spouse crazy, but it's that type of business.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing. It's been really a pleasure learning more about you and BrightStar. I really have enjoyed this time. If you'd like to get more information for yourself or a loved one, you can contact us at Horizon Elder Law at 877-244-1185, or you can call Matt with BrightStar at 925-284-8888. Also, all of their information is going to be on their main page on the Eldercare channel with a link to their website, so you can also reach them through that venue. Thank you, and we hope you have a wonderful day.